Hey everyone, and welcome to the Infinite Respawn podcast. I'm Chicken.
I'm Oak Tree.
I'm Griff.
I'm Baka.
So guys,
What's up?
So,
I had to turn me down a little bit. I think my compressor went. What the hell just happened?
you shh.
Quiet now.
Oh. Okay, so I didn't discuss any sort of discussion with you guys beforehand, so I thought I'd just like straight up throw you
Are you
under
blinding
the
us
bus.
right now? Is this like a blind discussion?
Yeah,
Oh, my
blind
God.
discussion. I was thinking about it because we have such a lack of news right now, and there's not a whole lot going on, and even in the stuff that is going on, a lot of it's like news about remakes and remasters and stuff like that people are looking forward to. What do you think would like revitalize the industry as far as like what kind of new mechanic would be the thing that everybody starts talking about, or what kind of new game? Because right now it seems like we're kind of in a similar funk to the movie stuff, where it's like, here are 10,000 versions of the same thing with slight variations so that they're not infringing on IP. Or we're remastering all of your favorites because we don't have any other ideas right now. I hope you like it. So what would be like the new?
That's a really good question. Is like,
Yeah,
what could
it really is, because I'm thinking
revitalize?
about it like from like if you think about it from like, let's say, the Switch standpoint. The Switch is like they combined the 3DS along with the Wii and the Wii U, right? The two of those together to create this portable thing that was there, but everything, all the other functionality is there, right?
Yeah.
And we can get the old library, and that's cool. But because it's so close, there's no like time gap that's in between there. It just happened. It was really quick. It's like, and now everybody kind of just owns a Switch. It's like part of it. But I'm trying to think, like, what would you have to do? Because I feel like because VR is a thing.
VR is a thing. It just needs to be improved before it can be the thing. Because it makes too many people motion sick still, and it doesn't have enough like long-term use. Like, you can only play it for so long before you're just tired because of how much it takes for your body to reconcile that it's not actually doing
I would
things.
say that's a good thing, though, in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
It's that whole, you're supposed to get up during a long gaming session. You're supposed to get up periodically and move around and do all that stuff.
Well,
But we'll sit in front of a screen for 4 to 6 hours, and we're like, oh shit, where'd the time go? Last time I checked, it was 6 p.m. Now it's midnight. Whatever. Where I think it's nice that it does that. I think the other thing is
it's not nice because after 15 minutes of VR, I'm just ruined for the next few hours. I can't do anything. So
part of that was the machine you were using too, and how your body was reacting to it.
Yeah, like I said, if I would have had an omnidirectional machine, I would have been perfectly fine. Like,
either that or the cord changes. To me, the cord changes how my brain recognizes, because I can move freely and there's nothing else linking me to the world that I'm in.
yeah,
Like,
my problem was
there, my body knows, because I can feel the cord. I know I have something behind me, right?
Well, mine was like I could not handle the movement without my eyes moving it. Like, it was one of those things where if I moved the camera and then it was just too much for me, because it was not reconciling.
too much of a disconnect.
Yeah, where it was like almost two pictures, where it was like this one is moving behind what I'm looking at, and it was just too much. Like, I couldn't handle that. But if I was just standing still and moving around, like, I was no problem.
It's the only problem. Like, the omnidirectional's got to be the only thing that you could do. Yeah. Because if you think about it this way, the only other option you would have to stop that from happening for you is to have a full room for you to be able to walk around in.
Yep.
Just like a
And nobody's going to be like, okay, well, we got the VR room, like, you go to houses now, it's like, well, we used to have a swimming pool in the backyard, but we put a VR room in instead.
That would be kind of
To be
cool,
fair,
though.
there are places like that. I'm pretty sure there's one place where you get the VR headset or the AR headset or whatever, and you can go through like a haunted house or something with it on and actually,
the Void.
see things.
The Void has that. It's a brand.
Yeah, where it's like built a house. It's super generic if you look at it without the AR on, but with the AR on, it looks like a haunted house or whatever. Like, I think doing something like that would be super fun. Doing a haunted house, like a ghost hunt thing with the AR glasses on, where you could actually do what you do in Phasmo. Like do it like you do in Phasmo and whatnot. Just, you go through the house and you have to find the clues and whatnot and figure out what it is.
I think that would be fun. Like, because like if all of you could have like the Quest 2, where it's completely wireless, everybody's got their connections in their hand and they're able to move around. But I think the point is, what is accessible to the masses? That's going to be the big thing. What can you do? Because like if again, VR is only going to get successful if the omnidirectional stuff gets affordable. Because the VR prices can go down.
Yes.
But again, you're going to have space to be able to use it.
Because it's like a 4x4. Like you need a 4x4 square to be able to set it in, because it's pretty big. I mean, it has to be.
Mm-hmm.
I think one thing that might help revitalize, BlizzCon, Blizzard already has such a bad thing. I think Microsoft buying Activision Blizzard will help set them up for a second coming, for them to kind of revitalize themselves, because that will help people kind of be like, okay, I'm willing to look your way again and see what you got. And if they announced a WoW 2, like no matter where you are on the spectrum of gaming, if Blizzard was like, here's World of Warcraft 2, no matter where you're at, you're going to be like, I want to see that, because everybody knows what WoW is. And if they announced WoW 2, that would just, everybody would turn towards it. Like, it would just be the thing that everybody looked at.
I think it's the first thing Microsoft announced.
Ooh, yeah. Like, that would be ginormous for them.
Do you think if let's along the same line of thinking, if there was a WoW 2 to come out, what would you, because you're regular WoW players, what would you want out of not just storyline, but I'm talking about from the game, that whether it's retail or classic, what do you want that's different about it that would be something that was an improvement upon what you currently have?
I mean, if we're talking about the state of retail currently, you know what would improve it? Actual writers.
Yeah, like
a storyline that didn't suck dick.
I'm talking about gameplay wise.
Massive graphical overhaul into like the Unreal Engine 5 style. Like gone from like the cartoon fantasy to almost realistic fantasy.
Do you think any gameplay differences that would be there to differentiate between 1 and 2, like some similarities,
more
for the most part,
like a more active combat style, because WoW right now is just purely global cooldown based. You click a button, do an action, auto attacks in between. I think retail is a lot better about the action style, but a more fluid based combat style would be more interesting. Like, I think their entire base needs to evolve. They've been trying to build on it over the years, but I think them starting off at the bottom and like starting a modern generation style of gameplay would be huge, because you can only evolve what you have made so many times before it starts,
I would be interested to see how that works too, because the like when y'all are doing raids and stuff, and you're discussing how the raids
Disgusting is not what I meant to say.
Disgusting. Sorry, my tongue got stuck. For like when you're discussing and talking about your raids and like the different sections that you have to get through in order to be able and like learn your role in that particular raid as you go through them. Compared to, we'll say, Destiny, which has their own raids that are there too, but within 2 days, 3 days, somebody's beaten the Destiny when it's there, and it's continual combat, right? You just got to figure out versus, so what you want to do, you got to have that balance, right? You got to still have that long raid that you would get from WoW, but at the same time, the combat change you're talking about, right?
Right. Well, I think that would eventually just come with time. Like, because now the old raids are simple, and they don't, some of them are quite fucking complicated. I hate RNG. Oh my God.
The less RNG, the better.
Yes, like I get it. You got to have some sort of RNG mechanics in there, and that's okay, but you have to have some sort of steady progress that you can watch, because I think there's one boss that we're on that just like is nothing but RNG. Like they put, like if they made it like sending people in different directions, that's fine, but there's an ability that he will use that has a window of 15 to 25 seconds.
Which
and
doesn't sound like a lot, but when you're in the middle of stuff, it really is.
And like whenever somebody gets sent in, like whenever it's a two area fight, when he casts it, somebody gets sent down to the bottom area, and then everybody has to follow that person into the portal to go down. And then, once you get through the whole thing, you're supposed to create a cycle in which, first group that went in, now their turn's coming back, and they go like this, and they're just supposed to create a cycle. We got to one point where it was like he was holding off on sending anybody down, and we had two groups basically squished up against each other, and then the third, it's like, we can't send all of those fucking people down because we need to, like, and then the rotation just got thrown off, and it was just, we got fucked. That was it. It's like, okay, that's lovely.
So, and you're currently on the what would be considered the first expansion, correct? Or second expansion?
This is technically the first expansion.
Okay. So, and then from your recollection, when you've played the retail version before, was RNG more of a thing, just about the same, or less of a thing as the game progressed? In classic, there wasn't that much RNG. Like, it was a lot of simple mechanics, simple RNG, things like that. Who's going to get the debuff, things like that. It's just kind of a lot of mobility and being able to understand the rotation of the fight and understand how you're supposed to do it. It was a lot more of X plus Y equals Z, and in this one, they're like X parentheses Y plus Z parentheses minus S. Then it got a little more complicated, and in Rat they get a lot better with mechanics. There's less RNG, more mechanics, like more things you have to be aware of, you have to watch for.
Don't stand in that fire, move out of that cloud, shoot that thing that's over there, everybody.
Do the safety dance.
Kite the boss to this, bring the ad over here, kill the ads before they get to the boss, watch out for the enrage, dispel that, make sure you get that. Like, a lot more mechanics, but less like, and now these people, and that spell goes off, and now you have to hope that it goes off again in the next few seconds. Oh, no. Okay, do it.
Everybody
do
said
it.
no.
Oh,
okay,
my God.
cool.
Oh, God damn it. Like, just sitting there fucking waiting, hoping that he's going to do it. Like, bosses with a specific timer are good.
Yes.
Like, because then you know what you're working with, you know how to handle it, and if you fuck up, then you can go back, do it again that same way until you learn the rotation. With RNG, it's like you can't fucking learn. Like, you can't. You just have to fucking hope.
Like, I know how this thing goes, but I can't
make the boss do things.
Make it, It's not I can't figure it out, it's we can't be successful because. But like if it could be more mechanic based.
Yes, and that's why a lot of people like retail, because a lot of the stuff in retail is mechanic based, timing based, mechanics, things like that. And that's for what WoW 2 would do, is like make it more mechanic based. And you just got to make the whole game a little bit more active. Also,
would there be anything else you would change, like viewpoints, anything like that? Like,
I would totally fucking add a VR aspect to WoW 2.
Okay.
Oh yes, like if you did like a realistic fantasy style and then just give people the option to play VR, that would be fun.
That'd be neat.
I mean, I could only imagine what it would actually feel like, getting an omnidirectional, having your two little staves or whatever, and like casting spells or fighting murlocs and actually trying to block and swing.
You have these giant beasts that are in front of you too, right? You're having to look up at.
You got your HUD in front of you.
Be also horrible because if the tank gets distracted by like their spouse or whatever.
Yeah.
Stop messing with me. Like having to like do specific motions for your spells and whatnot. Oh man, that'd be a lot of fun. There's a lot of potential in what you could do with an MMO, and in like 20 years or something, we'll look back and have this conversation, be like, oh man, we were so dumb. We had no idea what they were making.
Yeah.
Because someday, someone is going to make a VR MMO that's actually going to be high quality. once VR does become a thing, because it will be a thing. It's just where video games are heading one way or another.
Well, video games are headed that direction. I think one of the things that, in order for us to be innovative, we've got to get away from. We've got to get, mobile games are going to be a thing. I know they're going to always be a thing, but we've got to get away from VRs. They have. There's too many VRs in the world. That's what's killing the industry, honestly, because
everybody
it's making
feels
so much
pressure
money.
to spend, to waste resources on trying to put a VR into their game, and it's
because they're too busy making crappy games with for lots of money. Like, I mean, look at the Diablo Immortal. They made $100 million in 2 months. And they're like, yeah, whatever. Why innovate? Why do anything that's gonna, progress us forward when we could just make a crappy cash thing like this?
And I'd be okay with it, like if, which Epic has other ways they can make money, but let's say it's a smaller company that makes a VR. We'll use PUBG for example, because when PUBG started off, it started off as an independent company and it made billions of dollars. But if you use that money to be able to kind of subsidize all the rest of the stuff you're trying to make and make that quality, I'm okay with that. But I think the problem is they're going, okay, let's pump as much money as we can into this VR because it's a cash cow. And we're just going to continue to pump all the money into it instead of worrying about the rest of the industry and the rest of their business. And finding new ways to innovate it a little bit. I think that's where, you've got games like Borderlands and stuff that have those random drops, and the way it's done is very, very unique. But then you get to Borderlands 3 and everybody was kind of upset with the way it was done. Well, first of all, again, I think writing was part of that too.
Yeah, it was
I think the PR from the company president was part of that also.
Yeah. Well, him aside, I'm talking about the game itself. Like,
the story was just, it was really mediocre compared to the rest. And also for the Diablo Immortal thing, if Microsoft didn't buy them, I'd be worried about it. But with Microsoft buying them, I feel like that $100 million in profits is going to be used better than just going into Bobby Kotick's pocket.
True.
So.
True. It would only pay a third of his buyout.
It's more like Bobby pocket it. There we go.
You stretched.
I did stretch for that one. I stretched for that one a little bit, but it worked. It worked.
It will be interesting to see, though. I think maybe it's one of those two where you'll get a generation of kids that will go back outside to play and have friends.
I doubt it.
Funny.
And then they'll actually have like couch party stuff again and be able to do things. And that will be the next thing. We don't know.
That ain't happening.
Things tend to make their way back around a lot of times. Sometimes we go backwards to go forward.
I don't know if that's going to go back around just based on the fact that it's like, oh, look, I don't have to leave my house to make this TikTok and I can make tons of money on it because I'm a dumb kid and every other dumb kid's going to love it. Sorry, dumb kid.
And then we're going to go, all my shit got stolen online.
Oh, no. Just
yeah,
buy an
I
NFT.
think it's a little different, though, than like the gaming world itself. Unless they make a game about how to make a TikTok. That's a possibility.
That's probably somewhere that somebody is working on that.
It'll be
right
like
now.
the new dancing, like the Dance Dance Revolution game type thing. It'll be like that, except you got to do the one for the TikTok.
No, it'll be a lot more like what WarioWare.
Could be.
Possibility. There's a new one of those coming out, isn't there? Or there's already one out?
I think it just came out.
There was one coming out for the Switch at one point.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Yeah, I remember seeing a thing on it. So maybe that'll be the next big thing. Unless it's already come out, and since we don't know about it, we know it's not the next big thing, or the past big thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm thinking about things that got like major attention in recent years. It's like Animal Crossing, but would that have been as big if we didn't have the pandemic where everybody had to be at home? And
it would have been big, but not as big as it was.
Oh, no. Can't believe you guys didn't even... This one didn't even cross your mind. Among Us?
I mean, but it was out for 2 years before.
Right. But then, because of the pandemic, it fucking blew up and basically took over the gaming world. Like, right. I mean, it was crushing everything else.
Once the world started opening back up again, though, the love, not the love for the game, but the desire to play the game would drop because people didn't have the time.
It has to be It has to be a multiplayer game. It will be a multiplayer. Single player games will never make that kind of splash.
Not anymore. I mean,
No,
you've
not
got
anymore.
games that make big marks, like, your Red Dead Redemption 2 and things like that, but I think the multiplayer verse is going to be more successful in being super captivating than a single player.
And thinking about it now, I don't think single player games will ever get that way again because we've all gotten burned way too many times.
Well, there's not enough time being spent on most of the single player stuff that comes out, and they do it because they know they can throw it out, make the money off of day one, and then patch it as they go. I mean, with a multiplayer thing, you have to be a little better about that because it is going to be something where you've got people interacting. But even then, we have pretty big examples of those being like pretty bad on launch and then having to be fixed over time, like Fallout 76.
I think there are some games,
that's been a thing for a while, though. I mean, when the whole like games going online started become commonplace, games were already experiencing that.
I wonder if one of the things that would be innovative would be to actually be able to have like a company make single player games and have them launch successfully again and be like, that's the innovation, is there wasn't they didn't have to have a day one patch that fixed everything and broke everything else.
I mean, to be fair, most of the games...
The last 2 Spider-Man games didn't have a patch.
That's true.
God of War games didn't have to have a patch.
Yeah, like a lot of Sony games.
The Mario games haven't had a patch. Like there's games that are there. The problem is they don't get pressed if you don't have a.
If it's not a failure, you don't hear about it. I guess
like,
that's true.
There's a lot of games. Last of Us didn't have to have a patch. Like it's like there's a lot of games that are like that are.
Yeah, but they've released that multiple times, so they have that.
I'm talking about the second one, the most recent one. Didn't have to have a patch.
Well, you just said The Last of Us.
I was gonna make a joke
in general,
about which remaster he was talking about.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, I think in general, you're gonna get the only thing you're gonna hear about is the negative. Majority of the time, you're not gonna hear the positive because the positive is you did your job.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
You don't really hear about it when people did their job. You hear about it when they didn't.
At this point, I think the positive is the negative. It's like, oh my God, there's nothing wrong with this game. Are you surprised?
Yeah, it doesn't help you,
it's shocking.
Right?
We're shocked. It's shocked that there's no bad thing about this game.
Because Ghost of Tsushima didn't have to have any problems either, right?
No, it had a patch, I think.
Yeah, I think it did have a patch, but I don't think it was because it was broken.
Mm-mm. I mean, you're gonna have small patches for anything.
Yeah.
At least they can patch now.
Yeah.
Or you could have something like, Superman 64 where you had to fly through rings and it was a crappy game to start with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I just don't know. Like, it's got to be something. It has to be something that's huge named or a party game of some form, some sort of massive online game, or a party game that a lot of people can just get behind and play.
It has to be multi-plat.
Yes, it's got to be multi-platform. If you want to make the biggest splash, it has to be on everything.
I mean, you think about it just from a standpoint like simplicity. Like think of Wordle, right?
Yeah.
It's a very easy game. It was made, by one dude, and there's no telling how much he sold that game for. But
oh man, a lot, I'm sure.
But it took the world by storm, and it's one of those things where it's like they can do it once a day, and maybe that's what it needs. Maybe that's what the game is. Maybe somebody gets a game and it's like you can play this game for 1 hour a day and that's it.
Like the next fad. I don't know.
And then that's it's like, okay.
It's so fucking hard to tell what the hell is going to catch on randomly. Yeah. Like Among Us came out of nowhere and was like, this is the greatest thing. And then Wordle comes out of nowhere and they're like, this is the greatest thing. It's like, what the fuck are you people getting attached to so randomly?
I think the difference though, that goes back to the multiplayer versus single player thing, because Wordle's single player, right? And unless you just happen to be streaming it, or why would you stream Wordle? I don't know, but the have that, and then then you have the Among Us, which is the multiplayer part of it, and and then people found ways. I guess variety is also important. New ways to play one game. For multiplayer.
Thinking about it, you mentioned the last two games that you mentioned were Among Us and Wordle of all things. I think
I know,
maybe
right?
one of the things is simplicity, slimming
Yes.
down the amount of stuff that you're doing in the game instead of being so bloated. Like we've talked about map bloat before, especially in respect to Ubisoft games, where it's like there are 30,000 icons on this map, and most of them are optional, and some of them are online, and some of them aren't, and things like that. And it's like, why don't we just make it a little less overwhelming?
Again, sometimes going backwards
Yes.
is the best way forward. So it's
We
like,
kind of have a lot on our everyday plates these days. Maybe if our games were not so overpowering, it'd be
I mean,
a
you were
little more
absolutely
appealing.
right. Simpler is better, and why Among Us was so good because there was no mechanics to it. It was run around, do some tasks, betray your friends, and have fun. That's it. And Wordle is just solve a puzzle. That's it.
and then they add for replayability. A lot of these games will set up and they'll go, okay, you have a daily challenge, a weekly challenge, and a monthly challenge that you got to hit.
Because
and
they
every
want you
time
to
you
come
go,
back.
it's because they're wanting you to come back every time, right, and continue to play the game. Just give me one monthly challenge. Let me finish or not one, but give me a series of monthly challenges. Let me finish the monthly challenge and not have to worry about being there every day or every week and hitting those particular ones. It's a game I like, but I don't necessarily have time to play it, whatever that game might be.
Yeah.
Reduce the amount of need for us to be there all the time.
Yeah, the pressure to log in constantly is... I mean, and I get it. That's how they make their money, is by you being there and theoretically, like, upping your interest in their microtransactions or on the next expansion that they want you to buy and things like that. Is they need you to be there so that they can justify keeping the servers on and things like that. But it becomes too much of a job for it to be like, all right, well, I'm playing this game, and this game. I need to log in at 8:30, and I can spend an hour on this game on Monday, and then on Tuesday I need to log in to this game and this game, so I need to spend half an hour here and an hour here, and then on Friday I've got to make sure I log in or this thing disappears in this game. Like, y'all,
Yeah.
I ain't trying to keep a schedule for things like that. That's why we stopped playing Ark when it was new, is because you had to have somebody log in every 3 days or your stuff disappeared. It's like, that's asking quite a bit to make sure that I'm gonna...
Not just log in. You had to run around
Yeah.
and get close
You
in
had
proximity
to feed
to
the
all your
animals
stuff.
and-
Yeah.
Feed the animals, check your boundaries. Oh my god.
Yeah. So... I mean, it's
Which is
just-
why it's nice that we run our own server, that when we turn the server off, it's shut off.
But I mean, if you
Everything's
want it to
frozen.
be multiplayer, I guess that's the evil, like the downside of it, is the necessary evil is they have to have you log in to have your player count or else, so they can keep the lights on. So like they make it into a job for you, but that makes it less fun.
Yeah.
That's like a double edge right there, because it's like, well, I want to play your game, but I also don't want you to be dependent on me logging in every 16 hours.
Yeah. Like, if your game is fun, people will log in just because they want to play.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think, like, with Wrath of the Lich King for WoW, and I think Wrath is, like, right on that cusp, because this is where they start introducing dailies in a bunch, where they really didn't in TBC. They had some, but in Wrath they give you a lot more, and you kind of start getting this need to log in to make sure you get your dailies done, and it's like a dangerous line where they started, and then eventually it just really felt like if you did not do your dailies, you fell really far behind, because like in retail they give you it's stuff for your main gear. Like, it's so critical to doing your dailies every day so that you can keep up.
Well, and they made the mistake, I don't know if you remember, in Legion they also made the mistake of you needed to do dailies in order to get your chest gear stuff, but your chest gear stuff was randomized as to what was going to come out of it, so it still had RNG on it, because they wanted you to not, get your stuff and then not worry about your dailies. They wanted you to have to come back all of the time.
Yes. Ugh, it was terrible. Terrible. It's a bad feeling whenever you're like, oh, I have to log in. That's where I just kind of stop. Like,
Yes. Anytime that I feel pressured to log in, and it's not something like I've got to log in because tonight is raid night, that's an agreement that I made with other people, not that the game is asking me to make.
Yes.
Because the game doesn't care if I raid once a week or not, or 2 days a week or not. But when the game does care whether or not I'm logging in, especially on a certain time frame, like, that's where it starts getting stressful. I feel like we've gotten pretty far away from my main question with all of our theory crafting.
Well, no, to be fair, it's not theory craft. To be fair, like, if you want the next big thing, you have to fill, like, these specific
you have to
filters.
Not fall into the pitfalls of these past things.
Yeah, because it's what has destroyed these big name things in the past. And like, people's interest wanes. Like, you might get something that's like, oh my god, it's great, and then it just fades away. That's why I think if WoW 2 was announced, it would be that huge thing that would build up into this, like, climactic release, and if it's good, it could be like the one thing that's kind of
it becomes the WoW killer finally.
I'm just worried that if they do that, it ends up being like EverQuest 2 was.
What's
it's
that?
very possible.
Like, how does that? I don't know what that means.
Well, when they did EverQuest 2, like, it kind of killed the whole, like, market for EverQuest. Because, like, it was like a complete overhaul from what people were used to playing for years. They couldn't transfer their characters over, so, like, all that progression and hard work they did on the first EverQuest, was gone.
I mean, I think...
But don't you want that out of a second, though? Like, as long as it's not a continuation of the exact continuation of what you were doing.
Yes and no.
But, like, if you're...
I can see both arguments on that. And mine is... That is exactly what I'd want. If it is the second iteration of the game, I want to start over. I want to have... Like, I want there to be a break from whatever the first one was, so that the second one can be by
stand
itself.
Alone.
You know, yeah, it's basically a standalone at that point, and continue on from whatever point in the future. Because I mean, I'm sorry, I get it. There are some people, and we have friends that are these people that have literally still play retail and have been playing this game for 20 years now. I'm glad that you have enjoyed it to the point that you've put that much work in. But if there is a Warcraft 2 and we're jumping like 1,000 years into the future or whatever it is that they do for a plotline, you can't carry your character on. You put in that work because that's what you were enjoying doing at the time. That doesn't mean that you carry it on forever and ever and ever and ever until the end of the world. Like,
it's the
second game, you'd have to start over. I'm sorry, your cap level character in current WoW would be dead. So no, I'm bringing you over to the second one. You got to start over.
Well, they're
just like
creating an
else.
opportunity for you to replay the first version of the game all the way through.
Yeah, but a lot of people
right
are like, "Oh, I'm not doing that. That's why I'm not playing classics. I already played that, and I don't need that."
Yeah, well, like, I'm okay with, like, and that's also the difference is we put a lot of time into that, but we are okay with being able to be like, that's done. It's my box of WoW stuff. These are all my experiences. I can put them up on the shelf. Like, you can't take the memories and things like that away from me. But, the sunk cost fallacy, that's what it is. Like, some of these people have put so much into it that they can't even fathom the idea of putting it down. Like, they're like, oh, it's too late. I've sunk so much time into this that I can't get rid of it. It's like,
I've got
yes,
15 years on this one character. And it's like, well, that's nice and all, but didn't you enjoy those 15 years? Okay, this is a new game. This game is no longer being updated. If you want to continue playing this game, you have to move to the new one where you will have to start over. Like, that's just how it is.
And I guarantee...
Or you can continue to play the game you like.
Yeah, I was about to say, I guarantee that they would not shut down the servers.
They probably wouldn't,
retail.
but there wouldn't be any new content. So you'd have people that would play for a little while, but then they would all get bored. Because what are they going to do after 4 years of playing the same end-game raid? I mean,
well, with the way their world works is everything scales to everything, so you can make a raid and just like 25-man everything from every expansion. But eventually, you're going to get bored. You're gonna like, and they're gonna people that are just like, I can't stop playing, and then they're gonna realize how much of a problem that they have.
Those people are eventually, though, if you think about it this way too, they're gonna age out. So at some point, because we're all older than when the game started. You're going to have that person that's 50 years old that started when the game did, 20 years ago and is going to go, hey, I'm playing WoW 2, but I'm also playing WoW. I'm going to stop doing this because I want to finish what WoW's 2 doing. And then eventually they're going to go, I don't feel like playing video games anymore. Or I've moved on to another video game. you know, I think
there are some
will
people
age
that
out.
play WoW that it's the only game they ever have played, and they're not going to go, I'm playing another video game. This is the only thing they know. And
Again, age out. Eventually, they'll age out. They'll,
well, I mean,
they'll
by age out,
eventually
it probably
stop
means
playing.
dead because there
Yeah,
are
I mean-
grandmas
I'm saying
that
it
play
a
this
nice
game.
way.
Yeah, I mean, you were 100% right. They will eventually age out of playing it one
Yes.
way or another.
Either their body will no longer allow them to be able to play.
It's
Or
just
their
usually
body
when,
is
when
no
you
longer
say age
functional.
out, it's like, well, when people get 60, they realize they don't want to play that game anymore, and it's like, well, that's not true.
No,
I
there's
mean,
people.
to be
that'll
fair,
still
we've
play
got a
at
couple of older raiders in our group too.
Yeah,
So
we
right,
definitely
but how
have-
many people from their generation that they played with back in the day are still playing that game?
I mean,
Like,
I'd
let's say that they
that's
had,
probably
you know,
at
let's
least
say they had
25%
20 people that
classic.
they were in a guild with back in the day that were their age, and now there's like 5 left that are still playing. You know what I mean? Because
Possible.
everybody went on with their lives, or you know, they died, and you know, moved on, whatever it happened to be. So, you know, I commend them. That's awesome. They're still playing. I hope I'm still playing at that age.
oh yeah,
You know, but that might be when I pick up WoW.
I doubt it.
I'll be retired now. But you know, I think it's gonna have to be. I think simplicity is what we got out of this for mainstream games. Simplicity seems to be the easiest way to get a lot of people involved. Multi-platform and multiplayer is I think is the 3 things we came out of that, and then with WoW, innovation of some sort. And
yes,
I like the idea of the 1,000 year in the future thing, because it does
yes. You
mean
need to disconnect from what we have now so far that it can be its own separate entity.
well, it also allows for them to create new things.
Yes, that's why. I
Now,
think it
knowing
needs
them
to be
though,
far.
like for people who have classic WoW, if they did a WoW 2, they would probably still give them something like, oh, here's a mount for, you know,
Oh, yeah.
those
I'm sure you'd get some sort of like token or
incentive.
something. Yeah.
Well, it might be where like part of the plot line takes you past a particular part of that you all remember from, you know, one of either a raid or you know, part of the storyline or something like that you have to go past, you know, and you walk by and it's in ruins or whatever it happens to be. So you have those, you know, you're going to have this fan service that's going to be involved in it,
Oh yeah.
but at least it makes the world seem a little bit, you know, like it grows. You know, all the pandas died off because of a pandemic or something. You know, you never know.
Right, whatever.
Yeah. No kidding.
They make too much money off those things.
Well, we've been talking about this for almost 40 minutes. Should we go ahead and just snip the news out?
Sure.
Whatever.
All like
little-
3 or
little
4
bit of-
articles. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Let's do
Yeah,
it.
I mean, it's like absolutely
easy.
nothing. The first one is the unofficial Minecraft NFT platform. It says it's going to go ahead and create its own game since Mojang came out last week and we talked about it and said that NFTs are not allowed on their platform at all. So they said, Baka, would you like to go ahead?
They're gonna create their own with blackjack and hookers and NFTs.
Yeah, so they just decided to, like, well, fuck this. I'm going to go make my own. Oh, okay. Yeah, we're going to see how well that does. Oh, my God. It's never going to be released. They're going to go ahead and, you know, QQ about it and then move on, and everyone's going to forget about these people.
Or it's going to get released and it's going to be a complete flop.
It will probably be a complete flop.
And then they'll do something stupid and probably blame the millennials or something because their game failed.
Goddamn millennials.
Well, they'll turn around, and the thing about it is too is like they're like, I know we're no longer allowed to do this on this 12-year-old game, or how is 11, 12-year-old, whatever old it is, but we're gonna create a brand new game that's gonna be bigger and better. Yeah,
Yeah.
are you though?
No.
There's a reason people still play this game. Absolutely. One of the second ones we got on here is that the former exec of Xbox, Peter Moore, who was around during the Xbox 360 days, said that he encouraged his team to do the console wars, and he presented as the positive thing that we kind of talked about, which is competition is only good for the consumer.
Right.
At the end of the day. But I feel like it also caused a problem because I feel like all the Sony boys out there like really had issue with it, where they're just like, here you go, which might be why I'm like, because I started off as a Sony person as well, and then Xbox came out and I really loved it. But I feel like it's one of those that Xbox people are like, I'll play on whatever you want. Some of them are kind of, big time fanboys as well, but I just you don't see it as much. But I thought that was kind of interesting that he was encouraged the team to do it. And you know what? Gaming might not be where it is right now had not been a thing. If they'd given up when the 360 came out, you had your red ring, all that stuff, you never know what would have happened.
That's true.
Let's see. Next one. Chicken, you want to handle the Evolve one?
Oh, hell yeah. Evolve Stage 2. I'm sure everybody kind of remembers this from way back in the day. Stage 2 is the free-to-play version. They came out with Evolve, and everybody enjoyed it, and then they did Stage 2, which was the free-to-play. Thanks to a fan-made Discord channel for the game, people reached out to 2K in a bid to find out about its decision for closing down the servers, and because of the communication between the two groups, 2K has now gone to acknowledge the community's wishes and turned on the peer-to-peer servers again.
Yay!
The last time we tried to play it, we couldn't play it. You couldn't play it at all because you could not look for servers or anything. You could not connect to each other, period. With the servers turned back on, we can host games again and actually play the game again.
That's awesome.
Which I am stoked for, because the bit that me and Baka played, we were fucking in love with that thing. It was fun.
I like to play the spider monster a lot.
Yeah, I know. I know you did. I remember getting chased around by you quite a bit. I played the Goliath, the giant one that you can see in the picture. That one was fun. But yes, and if you can't get it on Steam anymore. You're gonna have to try to find the game a different way. I don't know how you're gonna do that, but you can find it a different way, or get a copy from a friend or something like that. But then we can play again. So that's super cool. I'm very happy that they decided to turn the servers back on. And that was like 4 years later. So, I mean, the people must have been very, very passionate going to 2K and be like, please do this for us. Turn the servers back on. I'm surprised that they still had the servers there to turn on.
Yes. It doesn't mean it's getting a reboot or anything, which is something that I saw being passed around online. It's not a reboot. They're just turning on old servers.
Yes, it does mean, though, that if it gets enough activity, it is a possibility that they start supporting it a little bit again, though.
Yes.
I don't know how much, how many people are going to end up playing it, but the more people know about it, the better. So if you've got Evolve and you want to play it, recommend it.
Definitely want to play it. Holy shit.
I'd like to see it like kick off on Twitch or something.
That would be interesting.
Cool.
I bet it will a little bit. Just because
it's another one of those. That's the innovative game. It died and came back because of Twitch. Oh, that's funny. So, as usual, Meta's in hot water right now with the FTC.
They just live in hot water.
Yeah.
I know it. So they've had issues because of Instagram and WhatsApp and a bunch of other stuff, but now it's the VR section that they're in hot water over. Because the FTC is saying you're trying to create a monopoly in the VR world, and we're not going to have it. So the VR app maker Within, they were trying to purchase them. The FTC said no, you can't do that. Currently, they have Big Box VR, Sunzera Games, Ready at Dawn, Downpour Interactive, and the Beat Saber developer Beat Games. They've had, according to the commissioner. The Commission Bureau of the FTC says that instead of competing on the merits, Meta is trying to buy its way to the top. Meta already owns a best-selling virtual reality fitness app, and it had the capabilities to compete even more closely with Within's popular Supernatural app. But Meta chose to buy market position instead of earning it on its merits. This is an illegal acquisition, and we will pursue all appropriate relief. So basically, they've got an app, and they bought a company that was a competing app in order to be able to eliminate the competition.
Yeah,
so,
that's a no-no. You can't do that. That is actually illegal. There you go. That's the whole FTC thing where they're like, no, you have a best-selling fitness app. You do not get to buy the competition and then remove them. That's not how it works.
But Meta does whatever Meta wants.
Meta tries to do whatever Meta wants.
Mm-hmm. Meta gets a lot of things wrong.
Yes, they do.
And it always seems to be for the same problem, by the way. They keep buying up competition of some sort for something they already have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's crazy. What else we got?
I think that's
that was it. I mean, other than the article or the tweet you linked earlier, which was the Warhammer 40K Darktide got delayed for a while.
Oh yeah. So those that were interested in, it was supposed to come out your birthday, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was September 13th.
Yeah. So those that are interested in the Warhammer 40K Darktide, it has now been moved to November 30th instead of September 13th.
Yes.
Which
I mean, as long as they're fixing bugs and everything, so.
That's their plan. I mean,
I kind of like it too because Chicken would have been gone when it came out, so we would have had to wait. Now we can all just start at the same time in November. So I'm excited.
Yeah, it looks like
we need to go back to Vermintide a little bit. I haven't been on there in forever.
Neither have I.
They need to do the Deathwing one because, or not the, not Deathwing. Fuck the other one we were playing.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
I don't know which one.
The one, the pain in the ass one.
Oh yeah.
The one with all the gene stealers and Space Hulk.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. That motherfucking game. Oh my god.
Yeah. Like you need a 4-player squad. Me and Chicken, we're trying to do it on our own, and we were just getting overrun.
Like you try to move your way through that game at a decent pace, and then they just swarm you ungodly. We did it with 3 people, and we're like you can make progress, man, but you just get overwhelmed.
Especially when you get the Broodlord in there in the mix of them. He just tears you up.
Yeah, if you are not prepared, or if you are not that game is like Left 4 Dead on steroids.
Oh wow!
I mean, imagine the tank on more steroids than it already is. As fat, it's like a tank and a hunter put together, and he just sprints into you immediately, and you're like, well, shit, what the fuck am I supposed to do about this? Block, for the love of God, heal me.
Oh well.
I think that's
believe that's it. Anything else anybody wants to talk about?
no.
The Grand Theft Auto nerfed the shit out of the bikes.
Oh,
so
yeah.
there's no more trolling with it.
And the GTA Online stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the flying bike, that was since it came out, that was the go-to, I'm gonna troll people and grief them vehicle, and Rockstar just nerfed the shit out of it.
That's
Rockstar
good.
finally doing something about.
Yeah.
It's because they moved the people from Red Dead that were responsible for that that actually didn't do their job. They moved them over to GTA, and now they can do their job.
That's what it is.
Put them on more important things other than, oh look, there's a tumbleweed, that means your server's empty.
Exactly. Well, we do appreciate everybody that hangs out with us each and every week and Infinite Respawn. As always, you can check us out on Twitter at InfiniteResPC. You can check me out personally at MDB Oaktree. You can check out Griff.
At Griff's Line.
Check out Chicken.
At Elite Chicken 313.
Check out Baka.
At Baka Pickle.
Also, make sure you go to Griff's YouTube channel. There's games, guys. Just go on there. Just watch all of them. Just start from the beginning. Just watch all the games. And eventually when we get all, there's going to be more games and more games. And then also make sure you go to twitch.tv/Elite Chicken 313. Chicken's probably got about a month, maybe a little bit more.
Maybe it'll definitely be after my vacation.
Yeah. So, you know, if you hit the follow button on that, then when he goes live, you'll know it. Also, you know, if you're listening to us on a weekly basis, you're going to know because he's going to say, next week, I plan on doing this. So, you know, stay on top. If there's any of this stuff that you wanted to talk about today, like, what do you think is going to be the most innovative thing that's going to come out next? Go to the comments below. Please write some stuff down. Also come into the Discord. We'll talk to you there as well. And then go to twitch.tv/MDBOaktree, where hopefully I can stream most of the week. I'm not dying from 100 million degrees outside. But right now I'm playing through Icarus, of course. Playing through Stray as well, but I can't talk about it on the show because some other people want to play it. So I want to make sure I don't spoil it all. And yeah, so I'm playing that as well. For Infinite Respawn, I'm Oaktree.
I'm Griff.
I'm Chicken.
Bucket.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye.
Please hang up and try again.